all day of the First Home Buyers Help free e-course. Coming from an accounting and property investing background, I tend to look at numbers very differently to most people. And I definitely look at numbers differently to people who educate the first home buyers in general. Because if you think about it, who's educated you to date on how to buy your first home? And you'll probably find that it was your parents who may have bought a house 25, 30 years ago. I know in my case, my parents bought their home for $35,000, which these days wouldn't even pay the stamp duty for that exact same house. The other group of people that tend to educate you are banks and lenders, and they educate you on things that they want to educate you on. So on their honeymoon rates for their interest rates, or certain things that are great but at the same time are really not going to help you long term to save a lot of money and to get the best result for what you're trying to achieve, which is to buy your first home. And I suppose the third people that try and educate you are the government, and they've got out little booklets and things that are quite useful, but they're just not as in-depth, or they're not as creative as they should be, or as how creative I think they should be this day and age, which is why I've created this kit. But just getting away from that and back to the numbers, the way I look at numbers is, if I was to attend an auction, for example, and the price was $300,000 and that was my limit, but you'll often see people go to $305,000. What I understand is that by paying $5,000 more than I was prepared and can really afford, that is actually $11,000 extra over time I'm going to have to pay. And it's the same goes when you buy your house. If you were to purchase that house for $300,000, the end figure you'll be paying, including all the interest over the years, is going to be closer to probably $660,000, just depending on the interest and how you go about things. But it's a huge amount of money. If I was to say to you, I'm selling you this house for $660,000, you'd probably back away, because you just see the price tag of being less than half of that. So what I do in my kit and how I teach people is very differently, just to look at numbers in a slightly different way, and by doing that you can actually save thousands and thousands of dollars, because you get a greater understanding, and it's not that difficult. Despite having my background in numbers, I've really simplified this down, and many people have said how helpful it's been. Have you ever got to the end of a financial year and looked at your tax return and gone, geez, great, I earned $40,000 this year, but then looked at your bank account and gone, where's that $40,000 gone? And that's quite common. So if you can get a greater understanding as well of where your money is being spent and how this happens, you'll be much better off when it comes to getting a mortgage and a home loan, because that way you'll have a greater control of where your money's being spent, as well as paying off your home early. Because not only do I want to get you into your first home sooner, I want you to own your first home sooner and pay it off many years in advance.